All right, y'all. So welcome to the Sacred Pathway Academy podcast. Yeah, with me, Allison Rozelle, and I am here today with a very special guest. And I know I say that for a few of my guests, but when I say that this guest is special to me, very special to me. So I want to introduce you to my beautiful guest of today, Miss Porsha Jackson. Hey, Porsha.
Hello, hello.
Yes, so I am going to tell you all a little bit about this goddess, and then she and I are going to talk, and you'll see why I feel that she is just so darn special to me. So,
Oh, don't make me cry.
oh, goodness. I'll try my best. I promise nothing, but I'll try my best.
You know I'm a crier.
Me
So.
too. It's okay. It's okay, girl. It's okay. So, Porsha C. Jackson is a certified Usui Reiki Master Practitioner, and she is also a holistic wellness coach from
Mhm.
Oakland, California. Her business, Wellness by PCJ, is both a personal healing testimony and a platform to educate and encourage those most affected by health disparities on how to reclaim and preserve their health through simple, affordable, holistic, and sustainable wellness solutions. Porsha helps clients improve their well being from the inside, outside, and beyond. The inside through diet and nutrition, the outside through movement, stretch, and flexibility, and beyond through Reiki energy healing, meditation, and breath work. Portia's journey to health and wellness started in 2019 when grappling with a 3-month life altering health scare. Sick, tired, and in pain, Portia decided to unsubscribe from the suffering by becoming her own champion for healing. She turned to holistic and ancestral healing practices and committed herself to living a happier, healthier, and stress-free life. She converted to a plant-based diet and regular fitness routine, prioritized rest and stillness, and adopted a daily practice of mindfulness, gratitude, and spiritual grounding. Portia's commitment to growth and healing changed her life both physically and mentally, as well as emotionally and spiritually. In 2021, Portia launched Wellness by PCJ to provide hope, encouragement, resources, and support to others, especially for those within the BIPOC community or other underserved communities. Her prior career in wellness, prior to her career in wellness, I should say, Portia was active in nonprofit and community engagement work. She received a Bachelor's of Arts degree in public relations from the University of Southern Mississippi in 2006. Portia is currently studying nutritional counseling and stretch and flexibility through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. I once again welcome Portia Jackson.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm
Yes.
so happy to be here and share my story and have a juicy conversation about it.
Yes, ma'am. Let's get it on. Let's get it on. So, Portia, as I was reading your bio and talking about how you got started, so I know you love to share your journey through healing and your wellness journey. So, can you give us kind of an understanding of where all of this began for you? What was the defining moment to help you get to that point?
Can you repeat the first part of that question? I had a little bit of trouble hearing you.
I'm sorry. So I was just asking you to talk a little bit about your wellness journey because I know you love to talk about that and that's part of your testimony. So I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted you to just give us a little overview of how you got to this point and what started all of this for you.
Yes, yes. absolutely. Um, crazy journey. Crazy journey. So I was diagnosed, I have lupus. I'm very vocal about my journey with lupus. I was diagnosed in 2009. My doctors put me on medication, and I carried on for about 10 years, on my medication. Didn't really have any complications after the initial diagnosis. So I said, well, why am I taking this med? Why am I taking these medications? If I'm okay, like if I every time I go to the doctor, everything was good. Why am I still on it? Um, but I was busy. I was running around working, not taking care of myself like I should, just heavily relying on this medication. And almost 10 years from the date of my diagnosis, I started feeling sick. My body just wasn't, it's like I was giving out.
Mm.
And I noticed it got progressively worse. And like most busy folks, we say, okay, well, we'll get to it. We'll figure out what's going on. And I have this thing I need to take care of. I have a meeting. I have this. I have that. And it got to the point where I could barely move.
Mm.
My joints were swollen. I just didn't feel well. I couldn't keep food down. It just had taken a toll on me.
Mm.
Um, I happened to be talking to a friend who I had known for about 5 years.
Mm.
And I was telling her what was going on with me. She says, well, do you mind, me asking what you have? And I told her I had lupus. And she said, I have lupus. I had lupus and I don't have it anymore. So this light bulb goes off and I'm like, wait a minute. If you don't have it anymore, that means I could possibly not have it anymore. Now,
Right.
that's not to say, I'm not saying that it's just an easy, cure all, quick fix. But I was curious to know if she could do it, what she did, and how could I apply that to my life.
Right.
And I said it. I said, God, direct me. Where do I need to go in this? Ironically, I was picking up my medication. This is a week later from the initial conversation. I was picking up my medication, and a woman happened to be having a conversation about lupus. And I'm like, this is odd, that I'm picking up my medication for it and someone is having a conversation about it. And she had mentioned, holistic lifestyle, alternative healing, and that, she had lupus and she knew someone else who had lupus and they don't have it anymore, And I'm like, okay, so I'm not hearing this for, in vain, right?
Yeah.
So I started doing my research. I started asking my doctor intentional questions. And I brought it up and I said, well, I'm hearing, right? Insert X, all these things that I'm hearing. Um, what do I need to do? So I really became my own advocate. I took my health back in my own hands. I
Mm.
started doing my research. I started reading. I became intentional about what I ate. I became intentional about working out. Those days of I'm too tired to go to the gym was no, I have to do this. Just like I get up every day and brush my teeth and take a shower, right? Um, I think the most important piece was the self care piece.
Mm.
And I told myself, you know what? It's time to slow down. It's really time to slow down. Because if I am not taking care of myself, if I don't slow down, and if I let this stress continue to take over me, this flare up is never going to end. And I'm going to have another one and another one and another one. And I believe what's true for one is true for all. And if it was true for them that they were able to make a lifestyle change and to see results, I knew that it would be true for me too. So I didn't go into this journey saying I want to, you know, um, eliminate lupus from my life. I went in saying I just want to live a healthier life. If I have to have this for the rest of my life, I want to be as healthy as I can, and I don't want to rely on, medication every day and multiple medications and feeling tired and feeling sick. Like I have a lot more life left to live, and I'm going to live every moment of it
Yeah.
as full as I can. So it led me to make some changes. Um, and then in 2020, the entire world shuts down.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
find ourselves in a major health crisis. Gyms are closed. Everyone's gaining quarantine 15. Health is top of, priority, protecting your immune system. And people started asking me, how are you staying in shape? How come, how are you protecting yourself? You're immunocompromised. And I just start sharing what I was doing.
Mm.
And this light bulb goes off. Because at the time I was still working in public relations. I was still doing my nonprofit work, but everything was shut down. So this
Mhm.
light bulb goes off and I said, I think it's my calling to share my story and to teach what I've learned.
Yeah.
And Wellness by PCJ was born. And it really was born out of me just telling my story.
Wow.
And I said, you know what? I think I want to take this a step further, and that's where I am now with the getting my certifications in nutrition and stretch and flexibility, and recently completing my certification in Reiki energy healing. I wanted to share my story to impact not only my life, but the lives of people who look like me,
Yeah.
who are affected the most by health disparities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow.
So
So
that's
that's so awesome. I knew some of that, but I've not heard like the whole thing. So thank you for sharing that. That was just really awesome and beautiful. And I love how the divine works, right? And sends all these different breadcrumbs to you. Like, okay, so I'm gonna tell her that. Okay. Let's
Yep.
see what she does with it. All right, now we're gonna send somebody else that's gonna say the same thing. Let's see what she does with it.
Yep.
And you actually got it. You were obedient to that. Some of us, when we get those breadcrumbs, those little notes, we just like, oh, it's just a little coincidence, just blah, 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 blah. But you were like, there's something to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I want to ask you, Porsha, is when you started really taking the initiative to start asking the questions, because here's something for me that I get on like my mother about this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the doctor and you have those conversations. Now, when you sat with your doctor, were they receptive to you asking about things that don't include you taking all of this medication for the rest of your life?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I talked to my doctor about changes that I can make. What are some dietary changes I can make? What can I do, mentally, emotionally, to help beat this? And because I've been seeing the same doctor for 10 years and I still go to him now, he knew that when I started asking these questions, I was serious.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me when I first started seeing him back in 2009, he's like, I don't want you to have to come in here for the rest of your life. We want to keep you as healthy as possible. So he was open to me asking questions, making the necessary lifestyle changes. But I also knew that doctors and big pharma also have a job to do, but it's up to me to take control of my own health. So I knew there were things that I needed to do that no one knows my body better than me,
Right.
right? So I knew there are things I needed to do and change to work in partnership with my doctor. So when it came to the spiritual piece of healing, I knew my doctor's not, he's not going to help me with that, right? He'll support it, but that's up to me. When it came to the discipline piece, asking questions, the ancestral healing piece, that was me talking to other people, finding my network of folks who have also gone through maybe challenges with lupus or autoimmune diseases or just whatever life may throw at them, and
Right.
asking, what did you do? And just finding what was comfortable and what worked for me.
Right.
Because I'm like, I have more life to live. I don't want to wake up every morning and not want to get out of bed.
Mhm.
You know, I want to be able to continue to live a healthy life and work with my doctor and my medical team, to stay as healthy as possible. Yeah.
Absolutely. So then that brings me to my next question. So since you mentioned that you decided that you were going to go because you've got the Western medical part, you got that
Mhm.
done,
Yep.
but then you just decided that maybe I need to step into more like spiritual and holistic. So how
Yes.
did you get to that point of making the decision that you were going to try um, and those other alternative forms of healing?
Yes, absolutely. A little backstory about me. So my biological mother passed away when I was 12 years old of breast cancer. I remember being, I think, about 10 or 11, around the time they said she was terminal. Now, at that age, I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what any of this meant. I didn't even know what cancer meant, right?
Yeah.
But I remember we went from going to the doctor, the hospital every day, to going to these, like, what I know now as a holistic wellness clinic. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I remember going to like these little small clinics, and they were very Zen centric, with the aromatherapy and the incense and the plants. And, I remember loving the vibe there as a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And she was going in for acupuncture and other forms of alternative and holistic treatments. I didn't realize until much later in my 20s that this was a form of like end of life care. After, they said, well, chemo's not working anymore, radiation, nothing else is working. So let's try this. And I asked myself, I said, I wonder what would have happened if this was introduced before she got to that point.
Yeah.
And that has played in my mind over and over throughout the years. And I said, I'm going to continue on the regimen that my doctor has given me, but let's try adding some other, remedies in here.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it worked for my ancestors, why wouldn't it work for me?
There you go. Yeah.
If it worked for my friend, why wouldn't it work for me? If it worked for the random lady at the store in line, why wouldn't it work for? I felt that if my ancestors can heal using some of these same, techniques, and if the woman at the store can heal, and if my friend can heal, then why can't I?
Right.
So I wanted to do as much as I could and to try different techniques to see if I couple this thing with the medication I'm taking, and maybe eventually I'll see that this holistic treatment or this alternative treatment is helping. Maybe I'll be able to my doctor will wean me off the medication, right? So the goal was just let me see if it will work. Let me see if nothing else, if it just makes me feel better. Yeah. And that's how, I ended up here.
Okay. So what was the first thing that you tried? Um, was Reiki first? Was it another form of healing?
Interesting story, another one. I actually tried Reiki back in 2017. And I'm going to be honest with you, I had no idea what it was when I initially tried it.
Oh, okay,
I was at a fair, and there was a wellness booth set up, and there was all these free services: acupuncture, blood pressure screenings, Reiki. There was massages, and so I said, well, let me try this Reiki thing, right? and I took a nap. And I had no idea. I was laying there and she's doing her thing and I took a nap. So I was familiar with Reiki, but I didn't understand what it was, the power of it. But my journey here actually started with me changing my diet. That was the first thing I did.
Okay.
I don't know why it was the first thing. I just figured, okay, let me clean up my diet. My doctor told me, make sure that you're eating, getting your nutrients in. So I said, okay, let me change my diet. So I went from a general all diet to, at the time I was pescatarian when I initially switched, and I just started eliminating. I cut out alcohol. I cut out as much sugar as I could. I just started eliminating the unhealthy, foods and drinks that I was putting into my system. That was the first thing. Once I felt well enough where my joints, weren't bothering me, then I started going to the gym and working out. During that time, I also started my spiritual practice where I became intentional about sitting down, meditating, and clearing the mental clutter that, had just been filling my head for just years and years, just like most of us, right? We're busy, we're thinking about what we have to do next and not thinking about, how all of this clutter is affecting our physical bodies. When I first sat down to meditate, I could not keep my mind still. So I started slow and I said, okay, I'm going to do 1 minute. I'm going to do 2 minutes. I'm going to do 5 minutes. And eventually I got to the point where I could sit down now and do 30 to 45 minutes of just stillness and being, in my practice. So my journey, like I said, my journey really started with me changing my diet first. I know now how important diet is, and really it's the hardest thing when you're in this journey. It's the hardest thing to change, because we spend more time eating than we do, physical activity, working out, right? So once I changed my diet, once I started that workout routine, I noticed I'm, feeling better. I'm starting to look good. I'm shedding a few, pounds that I had gained. I'm glowing. It felt good. So then the spiritual piece comes in and it feels even better because now it's like my soul is being healed. And I think with those three things coupled together, it just really opened the door for whole body healing. Um, and I say without that spiritual piece, without that mental piece, I also went to therapy. That was another thing I did. Without doing those things, I'm not 100% sure that I would have stuck to the diet and the workout routine. I feel what would have happened is that once I start, feeling like myself again, I probably would have, gone on and and not thought twice about it anymore. And that's what I did 10 years prior. Once I felt better, I was back in the busy routine.
Right.
But that spiritual piece kept me grounded, and it kept me on the journey to not only becoming my best self, becoming, moving toward my higher self, but also physically healing, because now I'm intentional. Now I think about what I'm putting on my plate. Now I think about if I don't get some movement in. So it was that spiritual piece that really kind of tied it all together. Yes, yes.
Okay. So you got your diet, you're starting to meditate, you're connecting now with your higher self, with your spirit team, and things are starting to come together. So let's talk about how from that you ended up becoming a student of Reiki and a practitioner of Reiki.
Yes, so I started my journey in learning Reiki in 2021, so last year. Um, I was curious, I kept hearing about chakras. I kept, hearing about Reiki. And then I remembered, oh, I had a Reiki attunement, some years prior, but, I fell asleep during it and it felt great to take a moment to relax, but I had no idea what I was actually doing, right?
Right.
But I started hearing about chakras and I was curious to know what are these, what is Reiki, and how can I apply it to my own healing journey? So in January of last year, I purchased Chakra Healing for Beginners, this book, and I just started reading through it, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And then I started to apply what I was learning and what I was reading to my situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed the parallels between what happens in our energy bodies and what happens in our physical bodies. And then another little light bulb went off, and I said, oh, maybe this is why they say stress is the leading cause of heart disease.
Right.
Um, so I said, well, if that's the case, then what else can be caused by stress or the stagnant energy in our bodies? And so as I'm reading through and I'm seeing all these illnesses that are listed in the chakras that they, are aligned with each illness. And I said, well, wait a minute, I've had moments of this happening and that happening. And I said, well, okay, I need to figure out how to balance my chakras, how to like clear this energy. Again, I say, whatever you put out to God, to the universe, whatever you put out there, it's going to come back somehow, right? You
Right.
ask and you are going to receive.
Definitely.
So I so I said, I think I want to study this. I think I want to apply it to my business. This
Mm.
was in about February of last year. In July, I attended virtually Abiola Abrams, Spiritpreneur, Abiola Abrams, Woe Manifesting African Goddess Initiation Festival. And when I heard you speak, this is how it all started. I forgot what day it was, but I was listening to you and I said, her. I'm learning from her. I don't know how I'm going to get in touch with this woman, but I am learning Reiki from her. It was a feeling of this is where you belong. This is how you're going to learn Reiki. I can't describe it. But I've looked you up. And as soon as I saw that there's an opportunity, I'm like, here, take my money, whatever you need, just take it. Take my money. Because everything that I'd done up until that point, I feel like I was led to it.
Yeah.
And I said, this is no coincidence that I said, I want to learn Reiki. And I attend this virtual conference, this virtual festival, and you're there. And your story it moved me. And I said, this is a sign. This is it. Here's my credit card. So yeah, for me, like I said, it really just started out of curiosity.
Yeah.
And just the feeling of this is what I need to do. And I looked into other forms of holistic healing, alternative healing. But with Reiki, I realized, whatever's happening mentally and emotionally has to be taking a toll on my body, because in 2018 I was on a go and had been for years, and eventually that led to my flare up. So I knew that the stress I was under was causing me to be sick, and
Yeah.
I needed to do something about it. And I knew it was a lot more than just meditating. I knew there was another calling. There's something else I needed to do, and that thing was Reiki.
Beautiful. Yeah, I remember that. I remember it you and someone else is like, y'all hunted me down. Like, listen, I need to take this course. So I remember that. So I remember it. And I was so happy that you signed up to take the course, and you were just a beautiful part of the of that class. And I always, when I looked at you, as I do with all of my students, I can see things with you all, with like all of you. And with you, to see you now using this tool to now help other people. You have this beautiful program that you put together, which we're going to be talking about in just a moment. It makes me super proud of you, first of all. And it makes me just, my heart is just so happy for you, because you are very much in your element. This is for you. This is what you are to be doing, and you're walking it out. And I love that you are doing that. So I'm giving you your flowers for doing that, for honoring yourself, honoring that voice, honoring that part of you, to say that there is more. And now that I'm on this journey and I've gotten these results, I'm willing to put myself out there to help someone else. Yeah. That is a healer, if I've never heard of it before. You know, that's what healers do. That's what we do, right? And I'm very proud. So that's why, y'all, I said she has a special place, because she's my student, and I taught her Reiki, and she's doing beautifully. And I'm just so proud. I'm like proud mama bear right now.
Yes.
So before we start talking about your beautiful program and other offerings, I got to tell you. So before we got on here, I pulled a card from the One Manifesting Fertility Goddess deck by Abiola Abrams, and I just wanted to see what would come up. And it was so funny. You actually said the word that I'm going to show you in the card. This is Goddess Isis. The word is gratitude.
Yes.
It says, I am grateful for the perfection of my journey. All is well. If that does not say Porsha C. Jackson.
Yes.
So that's why every turn of this conversation that you were talking, I was like, you can't make this stuff up. And this card came, and we weren't even on Zoom yet. And this is what came up. So I wanted to share that with you, because that just lets you know how aligned you are with your purpose, and with you walking out who you are. And this is why the Sacred Pathway Academy exists, is because you're the woman, or the kind of woman that I love to attract, because this is what it's all about. This is the sacred pathway, you taking those steps on that pathway, and saying yes to your journey. So I had to say that and share that. So, okay, I don't want to get too sentimental, because we'll
right
stuff.
Yes, I'm already there.
Well, let's talk about your beautiful offerings that you have. You have a 7-week wellness program. It launched on June 6th, and this is gonna air later than that. But I know you'll most likely offer it more than once. So can you tell us about that program?
Yes, yes. So I launched a 7-week immersive wellness program. Through the program, it's healing from the inside, outside, and beyond. So we focus on movement. Is not, personal trainings. I do want to be clear about that. It is just movement, being active, doing something, even if it's just a walk, right, in your neighborhood, getting up and doing something. We focus on nutrition. We also focus on clearing and self care, being intentional about taking our time with our self care. And that's not just, bubble baths and spa days,
Right.
it's journaling, it's meditating, it's praying, all the things, right? That really heal us from our soul out.
Mm.
So each week we go through the 7 chakras. Week 1 being root chakra up to week 7, your crown chakra. And what I do during each week is I go over the background of the chakra. So I give you all the information about, the color, the element, the location, the dysfunctions, if it's out of alignment. And then what we do is we work to clear blockages. So I do Reiki attunements every week, but I'm also giving you tools to keep that debris, that energy debris away from your chakras.
Yeah.
So I have a list of foods to eat for each chakra. Yes, so I give them a list of my participants a list of foods that align with each chakra, right? So based on what foods are good to clear your root chakra, what foods are good to open and clear your sacral chakra, as well as specific movements. There's a lot of yoga poses and movements that can be done to kind of clear the energy from the chakra. They're also learning about crystals that align with the chakra, which is another thing. So I'm huge fan of crystals. And I use crystals as a part of my healing journey. So I'm letting them know, informing them, teaching them which crystals align with each chakra. And I've tried to create the program to where I'm not just teaching and they're taking notes, but they're actively engaged in their own healing process. So, the same way that I had to take my health back in my own hands and do the work, participants of the program are going to do the work. And we just started on Monday. So Monday was just the introduction of the program, letting them know what to expect, what they'll need. And each week we meet on Monday nights for about 90 minutes, and we do a deep dive and we go through each chakra. There's homework, so there's journaling activities that I have for them. And again, like I said, it's just a matter of getting them to look at whole body health, because I think sometimes we get caught up on, I need to go to the gym, or I need to change my diet, I need to do keto, or I need to do, whatever other diet there is.
Right.
I'm looking at the whole body, because if you're not mentally, emotionally, spiritually connected and right, you're not going to go to the gym, because I'm not going to go to the gym. You're not going to focus on what eating healthy. You're going to say, well, let me just order pizza and watch Netflix. So what I'm trying to do is get participants of the program, get them to see health as being a whole body experience, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. So the program does go until July 25th. And at that time, it's my hope that participants will have a better understanding of not only how to care for themselves physically, but also how to care for themselves mentally and emotionally. And for those who are already on their own spiritual journey, maybe, giving them some insight of things that they can do to kind of add to their journey. And for those who haven't started, maybe this will spark an ongoing journey for them, an ongoing routine for them of keeping themselves healthy, in every way possible. Yeah.
Well, that is beautiful. And I'm not saying I wish you luck because I just don't roll that way. I'm just sending blessings. Blessings in your work is beautiful. I am so happy for you and proud of you. Just, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, if people want to reach out to you, where on social media? Because we know that's usually how people reach out to us, right? You can tell us about the website too, but tell us about social media and give your website.
Yes, absolutely. So you can reach me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Wellness by PCJ. I'm also on TikTok. Unfortunately, Wellness by PCJ was taken. So I'm on TikTok as Miss MS PCJ. And if you're interested in booking a session or just learning more, I also do introductory calls. We could just do a call to kind of find out what you need, find out a little bit more about my services. Or if you want or are interested in any of the full services, you can reach me at wellnessbypcj.com.
All right. And of course, I'm going to have all of her information in the description box so that you can read about her. You can click on the links, follow her on social media, all that. Because I'm going to hook you up and have all that there so you can find Miss Porsha. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Porsha, for coming by and speaking with me today. This definitely won't be the last time. I'm telling you that now.
I'm ready.
So thank you all so much for joining us today on the Sacred Pathway Academy podcast. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next time. But until then, bye for now.